Who are the rest on the list of African exchanges who are full members of this world organization? We'll tell you about that later on the show. Let's get into the maritime sector ecosystem, which includes seaports, free trade zones, which are central to development of every economy. For countries like Nigeria, with several hundreds of kilometers of ocean borders, the maritime sector requires tons of investments that the private sector can bring to the table. So, yesterday's forum on seaport investment was held by Welcome to Africa organization, which featured key industry experts. Ashish Khemka, the Chief Financial Officer of the Lagos Free Zone, was at the forum, and he joins me now for a conversation to this particular issue and making it on the show tonight. We appreciate your coming through. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming, Ashish. Well, what were the takeaways, the highlights for you from this particular forum?
First of all, thank you. Good evening and having me for the show. The takeaway, which I would say that, the maritime sector plays a very important role in the development of the whole economy. If in today's world, when the globalization is taking place, each country tries to trade with the other country, and the place from where the trade can take place is from the maritime sector, the ports and all other things, the shipping agency and all, without which because each country cannot do whatever they can or everything, and so they need to rely on the other countries, both for import as well as what they capitalize on as export. So every trade will need a maritime sector to play into it. And we would like to take make a good thank you for the Welcome Africa to take an initiative and initiate a program or a webinar just for the purpose of the maritime sector, which was first of its kind. And we feel some more sectors and more pressure should be given on this sector so that the economy can grow further, so that what can be produced here can be taken into the other part of the world. So that trade grows and the economy grows and further.
Very key in conversation for companies looking to do business in this very critical economic sector. What does the landscape in Nigeria look like? You're already in the business.
We are into the business. You can see that the world sees future in Africa, and when one sees Africa as the future, nobody can ignore Nigeria as a country. So the potential is very huge. It's just that you have to have the right policies, right frameworks, so that people can come, accept it, and use the right utilization and provide the right environment. They can prosper it to the sky would the limit for that place.
So you go specifically and drilling down to the government, what would you like to see? What role do you think government policies play in attracting further investments into the seaport, the maritime, the free zones across the special economic zone, as we're seeing more and more being set up?
The government plays a very important role, because when an outside investor or a foreign investor, when he sees what kind of the government policies are there, what frameworks are there, and what continuity is there. So the government, if we look at what the framework they should provide, is to have the right framework, the continuity, and clarity on the policies and the framework. Once that is established, I think all the foreign investors would come into the market and try to establish themselves and do a local manufacturing, which will help to boost the economy, not only on the GDP side, but create employment and would have a rippling effect on the overall economy itself.
Interesting. Again, Ashish, tell me about your investment experience. The Lagos Free Zone, what are you being able to achieve within the policies and framework environment in Nigeria so far?
So, Lagos Free Zone is a very unique product, if you see. What we are doing is we are acting as a trade facilitator for any investor who looks Nigeria as a market, and not only Nigeria as a market, because of the inbuilt or the first free zone, which will have the deep sea port as a part of its development, will ensure the gateway not only to Nigeria but to West Africa. And with the coming live of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, we feel Nigeria can easily become the manufacturing hub for the whole of Africa itself. And that's what Lagos Free Zone is trying to provide. The right infrastructure, the support services which are required for any investor to come and prosper into the country. Because an investor looks like he wants to do the core activity which is in specialization to it. The other support activities like looking for the power, security, other services like a medical facility, services like having a warehouse facility and all, can be done as what we are providing to them. So they focus on their core activity, they do what they are best at, and rest they can always prosper, because once you do what you are best at, you will always succeed into that.
I agree with you. But again, what are your key challenges? Inflation is trending not only here but around the world. So I'm sure exchange rate is also, whether you look at Naira dollar or you look at even the dollar against the pound sterling, the euro, and other major international currencies as well. So how are you dealing with these issues, by the way?
So if you look at it as a short-term perspective, you will definitely worry about all this stuff. But when you are into a business, you are business for long-term. That is business forever. And when you are into that business and you look at a long-term perspective, it's a kind of a business cycle which comes into it. And it's the fittest of the fit who survives into this market. Inflation, it's a global issue at present. It's a global thing, and we all know that why this inflation issues have come up. In the last 2 years, the kind of money in circulation has increased, which has led to a kind of an inflation. And all the central banks across the world are taking action to trim down the inflation and control the overall aspect. And we feel the action taken will show it results in next 2 to 3 months, or maybe in a 6 months period. Mm-hmm. And then the normalcy would return. And that's when the business prosper. So you don't take your business decision. You're not making an investment for tomorrow or looking at that only 1 year business or 2 year business. You are looking here for 50 years, 100 years, and for generations. And when you take that call, these small effects of inflation, price increase thing would not bother you, because you are looking from a long-term perspective, and that's what the objective is. And when you bring this objective into it, you can generate long-term employment and other things, and which will help to prosper the economy as a whole in the future.
You're here for a long time.
We are here forever.
I like that. I like that. I like that. We're here forever. It's just like diamonds are forever.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate this conversation with you. Do have a great evening. Thank you so much. Ashish Khemka, Chief Financial Officer at the Lagos Free Zone.